First and foremost, I want to thank you all. This is for the official, the Brawl for It All. This is in the shadow of the White City. We are in season 2, and today's episode is titled, bear with me 1 second here, Still Dreaming of. When we last left our troop, they had been brought in for questioning due to a spate of action movie-esque, over-the-top, beyond reproach, and beyond belief disturbances of the peace. There was a shootout erupting in a hidden lupine rampaging through the streets. There were purported bodies of kindred taken to the morgue. There were violence of all sorts taking place in a mysterious home known to the kindred of Milwaukee as Honor Mercer's place, the youngest child of Prince Decker. And through it all, the common denominator had been and is the Dalton Troupe, coterie from Dalton. Not that everyone knows they're actually from Dalton instead of Chicago, but the new folks, the new guys, the people who are here to help. And so the Anubi descend like the Valkyries to bring in this strange crew of kindred for questioning. As they do so, settling each of the members of the troop weaponless inside an interrogation room. Though in this day and age, everyone uses the nice PC term of interview rooms. That, in fact, is not the case. It is clear based on the age and skills of the kindred present that this is not an interview room. This is a interrogation. Now, of course, noblesse oblige being what it is, the interrogations, i.e. the interviews, start without any need for excess violence. And so as each member of the coterie is settled, the Anubi exit, have their conversations, and then enter into each room separately. Rolf enters in with Abner. Give me 1 quick second here. I thought I'd committed it to memory, but I had not. So bear with me 1 quick second here as we look at our notes for this episode, this session. There we go. Rodolph enters in with Abner. Rubiana enters with Dami, Akal, as the man, the myth, the legend, the Viking from a lost time, the wild man himself. Rodolph sits with Abner. The clank and clink of metal very clearly apparent, and he settles his large hands on the table in front of him.
Hello.
Hello. Is there something you would like to say?
Considering the situation, in that I don't know why we're here exactly, I kinda don't.
Are you familiar with a certain parable, a certain thought exercise? There are two people who have committed crimes. They're offered the opportunity to take a deal.
You mean game theory?
Is that what you call it?
Yeah, it's pretty common actually. Basically, you separate everyone, you offer them a deal, and then everyone turns on each other. It's pretty common.
Not as common as it perhaps should be.
So you bring up game theory, and you put us in these interrogation room. I assume this is because of our attempts to survive a lupine attack, and it having to unfortunately go through the streets.
No, that is a good guess. You are here because it is against Prince Daka's rules for more than 5 kindred to be in one place at a time, unless, of course, they are executing his wishes. You are here because there was a shootout in a hotel. You are here because it has been purported that Dawn has had to take action inside the city. An offer is being made in this moment with you. That offer is beg the prince's forgiveness, take what is your punishment, and leave with your hide intact. Or you decide to be heroic and say it was all my doing, at which point your coterie is allowed to leave unscathed. There is, of course, a third option. You tell me which of your coterie members were responsible, and you are rewarded with leaving unscathed.
So, exactly game theory.
If that is what you wish to call it. It is an offer of our prince's kindness.
One time I go into torpor around these guys. My God, why? Okay. So, I'm hearing this correctly. There was a shootout in a hotel.
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm so annoyed. Okay. I did it. Let's get it over with. Let's get whatever you're doing, most likely an execution, over with.
No, we are not savages.
I'd never called you savages.
Death is only one of many potential punishments. Is there anyone you would like to speak with before we carry out the prince's justice?
David. I would actually like to speak with David as soon as his interview is done. And you're done with your little mind games.
I see. He stretches back into his chair, the clink of metal still strangely loud beneath his overcoat, and he stands. This door, of course, will not be locked, but whatever actions you take will be visited upon you exponentially. Enjoy your moments. I'll find who you need to speak with.
Thank you. Have an amazing evening.
And he steps out, closing the door behind him.
As soon as he leaves, I immediately bang my head against the table and say, "Damn it, David!" I'm sorry I had to do it.
David, you're sat with a colorful individual. Akawa is one of the younger looking kindred of Milwaukee. His look is not quite perfected, but there is clear first person's features as well as the very wild and unkempt facial hair and long flowing locks. His dress, if not for the excessively 80s era long rock star hair, you'd see him on any college campus anywhere in the world as a student, teacher, or young professor. So I don't want to take too long with this. I'd much rather you have been staked where you were and we just put you in the garden. But it's not my decision, and it's Rolf's decision as to how we're going to proceed. For the record, my name is Akawa, and you are?
David.
Hi. David, is this your first time to Milwaukee?
I can't say I've ever been here before. It's my memory.
I'm sorry to hear that. This is not the most glowing Yelp review possible. However, because of the chaos that's happened in the city, Rolf decided instead of just hunting you all down and shooting you from a distance, then dismembering your body and shipping it back to Chicago, that we perhaps should attempt to, instead of taking matters solely into our own hands, reach out to the prince. And as you were here on a diplomatic mission, he has decided to offer you his kindness. If you tell us whom amongst your coterie members was the responsible party. If not, and you say that, well, it wasn't you and you're not sure, then we have to launch an investigation, at which point you will be punished and sent from the city. There's always other options, but those are by far the easiest and most direct, and I would like to handle this as quickly as possible. I understand that there's a how do you say, a mad person with a serious mad on being very mad somewhere in our mad city. It seems as if someone took something from her. But all the same, um, do you understand the choices that are offered and what lies ahead for you? If we have to investigate it, that is going to be very painful for everyone involved.
And I'm making the choice to not say anything. My lips are zipped shut.
I see. So you are okay with us perniciously, viciously, and angrily venting our frustrations on you and your coterie?
I'm not talking. Can't crack me with
Oh no, it's
human
not
comp
about.
tactics.
Oh, it's not about cracking you. And I was hoping we'd find a nice, simple way forward, because. And then there's a knock on their door. Oh well, looks as the decision has been made, and I do wish you luck with whatever's been made. Are you sure you wouldn't like to say one other thing that may mitigate something on your part?
Nothing, hippie.
I completely understand.
Ain't got anything to say.
No. You are entitled to your silence, and we are entitled to your screams. I'll be right back, and then we can begin. And something about the idea of beginning to torture someone perks him up. There is a gleeful smile at the corner of his lips as he steps outside.
What? As he's gone, can I look around the room, see exactly what I'm dealing with here?
Yes, you are in a 12 by 16 room that has not seen the best of days. It is clearly beneath the ground somewhere, either some basement or some parking garage. The walls are plain, broken, chipped, standard cement with a thin veneer of stucco, like someone once upon a time, a few decades ago, decided to try to patch the whole wall and just gave up on it. The table that was sitting between you and him is a relic of a bygone era. It is full industrial metal bolted into the floor. The chair you're on is designed to be slightly uncomfortable. And you're not sure why it's rocking, because it sits squarely on the floor, but somehow it's just loose enough that when you move or attempt to begin pretending to be human, it makes it fairly uncomfortable and inconsistent to sit still in it. And while you're not human, the temperature is apparent, because while you have not blushed life, he clearly has. There was a rosy tint to his cheek and a small bit of condensation every time he spoke. It is not quite the pit of despair, but more along the lines of a pre-pit of despair. People come here to die, basically. If you were human, you would most assuredly be filled with the dread of the death sitting in the air around you.
Is there any cameras on me?
Cameras? No, not at all.
All right. I'm not making action now.
Okay, and as you prepare, thinking of your immediate egress, escape, something to use, and how to leave, we turn our gaze toward Dami. You've been in these rooms before during your breathing days. There are some things that just don't go out of style, namely interrogation. It is a fairly straightforward affair. It is to gauge your responses, to pull the truth from you. And Rubiana, for a clearly child of Nosferatu lineage, she looks as uncomfortable as an interviewee in one of these rooms. She sits with her right leg tossed over her left, her hands folded in her lap, and sitting at a slightly off-kilter angle. The lizard-like patchwork beneath her skin, at the cheeks, under her jawline, and her pale, sallow complexion only add to the discomfort. And to top it all off, and to make matters all the worse, you respected the patchwork quilt that is normally what you've seen in ancient Samdi and Nosferatu, but her hair is full and vibrant and auburn. It looks to be the sort of thing that women would pay, and some men would pay, most of their earned income to have the access to. She could be a hair model, and she probably was based on how thin she was. My name is Rubiana. My friends call me every once in a while. And you are? I'm sorry?
My name is Dami Riviera.
Dami.
Hmm?
That is an interesting name. Is it short for Dominic? Dom now?
No, it's Dami. It's short for Dami.
I see. Well, your culture has...
And no, I'm not being rude. It's just my name is actually Dami.
Oh, no, I didn't expect you to be rude. That would be, of course, rude. From what I understand, Chicago, for all of its reputation, is not rude when it comes to their kindred, typically. There was a huge amount of chaos in our city. And while we are quite violent at times, we are not chaotic. There were several press-worthy actions that have taken place. And quite a lot of work has gone into ensuring the populace at large are not affected. There were several votes amongst us to kill you outright, just to be done with it, wash our hands of the matter, but there are political concerns. And so we reached out to Prince Decker for his advice as to how to proceed. His edict is for us to get to the bottom of it, to find someone to punish with an unending semblance of death. And it really doesn't matter who amongst you it is. I'd prefer, and she leans forward, unclasping her hands, sitting one on top of the other on the table as she leans forward, her forearms resting just above the elbow at the edge of the table. I'd prefer it to be anyone but you and young lady. In my living years, I have watched endless amounts of sufferings wreaked upon those such as yourself. So if you if you tell me now that it is one of the others, that will be that. If you don't, then we have to investigate. It will be messy, and I'd prefer to not sully my shoes or my clothing today.
No, Riviera, I wouldn't want you to actually sully your clothing either. That would not be good. The problem is, you ride with your coterie, you die with your coterie. So, as much as I would prefer not to have you sully your clothes, if you say that one of us must suffer for the misdeeds of the coterie, and you're asking me to choose one, by default, I'm going to have to choose myself. So you can let everyone else go, and we can go ahead and start with this.
Oh, excuse me.
During...
I will pass along your suggestion, but I must tend to this. As you're taking responsibility for your coterie, is there someone you would like to speak with?
I would like to speak to all of my coterie because there's no higher, there's no lower within our coterie. So, if anything, if it's possible, I'd like to speak with all of them just to make sure that they were okay.
They have been, as of yet, unharmed.
If it could be arranged.
We have not mounted an actual investigation just yet. It was hoped by one of our members, Akawa, you can have his name, that we just begin with the pain and work our way through you all. However, Rotha is the most senior of us, and having reached out to the prince, we will have to abide. I'll see what I can do. But of your coder, is there one I'd like to speak with more than another?
The woman, if possible.
Very well. I'll tend to that and see if we can bring her to you. And she steps out of the closing the door behind her. Now, Dia, you have been privy to many interrogations at the elbow of Nicole. Nicole is able to suss out information from the merest flutter of an eye. She's able to extrapolate and plot ahead of herself based on what information she perceives from those that she's questioned. On the few occasions where guile and being aware has not worked, and where titillation doesn't achieve any ends, things have gotten quite messy. So you are completely aware as to what sort of room this is. You are completely aware as to what they are either prepared to do or have practiced doing a multiplicity of occasions. The gentleman sitting across from you, Thomas Guerin, is, for lack of a better word, child. Not physically, and not clearly not age-wise, but based on his height, barely 5'4", and he's standing at attention just inside the door. His blonde hair cut, unfortunately, there's no other way to describe it, much like a Hitler Youth, the new modern aesthetic of buzzed along the sides, long across the top, looking as if it was something from the 1920s. His blue eyes and the few telltale signs of combat at the edges of his jawline, where it's a slug or a punch or some other damaging implement barely missed the thin razor-like slit that runs from just beneath his eye to just above his eyebrow. And the fact that he's dressed for all intents and purposes like an American Apparel model does nothing to calm the unease. As he's standing at full attention, watching you. It's not like you are breathing. It is not like you are doing anything to give away anything other than the fact that having spent the night in such a location, there's nothing that you would like to do ever again. So, you know why you guys are here, right?
Okay, so I do have dots in both etiquette and politics. Would they be helpful here?
No, there's an etiquette and an ebb and flow to these sorts of things, so of course.
Okay. Roll that then. Okay, that's a 5 at a critical.
Jesus Christ, look at it.
I think that's our first crit of this entire campaign.
Might be.
Wait,
We all
really?
got messy. Yeah, we all got mess criticals. Past like 2 months.
So, I think I critted a few times and so did you. But they're still rare.
She stares at him softly and smiles. Of course I do. Things got messy and a little bit strange, I would say. And you need somebody to pin it on. And because we're new in town, we are ripe for the plucking as to play. Am I correct?
Storyteller?
Oh, sorry, mute was on. I'm sorry, manual mute on this. All right, so you're kind of right, except we know you did it. We don't know which one of you did it, so we don't know which one to punish, and we can only punish because, well, the big guy reached out to the prince. So, because he reached out to the prince, we got to do this. And what this is, one of you rats out whoever's responsible. We fuck them up and send them back to Chicago in pieces. And while we're doing that, the rest of you guys get to go on your way. So tell me what's the big black guy, right?
Why would we be sent back to Chicago?
Because that's where you're from, right?
Interesting. So you know things, but you don't know everything.
No one knows everything. We got a job to do. It's barely enough for us to be able to take this time away from patrolling the city and fighting the good fight. Well, actually, let's just call it what it is. Fighting. That's what we do. The Lupines are out of hand. The Kindred are out of hand. They need a firm hand to put them back in place. Kind of what we do. Like, everybody thinks that we're fighting because we're here to save the day. No, truth be told, if the big guy wasn't here, we'd just be fighting because we kind of like it.
That sounds like a very strange hobby. Not
Well,
particularly my taste, but whatever. Float your boat. Now, what I'm going back to, mind you, is the fact that you said you talked to the prince. Or somebody did.
Yeah.
So that is the only reason we are being interrogated instead of killed outright.
Yeah.
Well, it's strange that the prince wouldn't tell you everything so that you can do your jobs properly.
So you think we're not doing our job properly?
Well, you're more worried about chasing the Lupins and grind. They are very dangerous. I met one yesterday. It was not pleasant at all. But there is still the fact that we were sent here to do a job, and we are attempting to do that job. It is not our fault that you let wolves run rampant through your city.
So you say that we gonna let them, huh? Lady, you're kind of funny. If Rolf wasn't here, I guaranteed I can find a better way to make you laugh. Get a real good belly laugh out of you.
You're adorable. Kind of short for my taste, though.
It works for me.
Sure it does. Now,
not everybody can be a Magilla gorilla, So, which one of you did it?
I'm still not unsure what you're talking about that is we did or didn't do.
Looks like someone's not as aware as they play.
Oh no, we did several things, but not particularly the things you might assume that we did. So I need to know which specific things you're accusing us of.
There was a shootout in a hotel. Someone stole another kindred's ghoul, killing them and embracing the other one.
Messy business, though.
There was the massive masquerade breach from a lupine running through the... Looks like your luck has run out.
No, I'm lucky all the time, darling. Bye-bye.
He smirks. That smirk that says, oh yeah, I'm going to make you pay for this, without any attempt to hide the sheer viciousness that lays just there.
And they blow him a kiss, because they're used to being stared at like that.
He turns around and steps outside. And from in the hall, each of you all can hear the thinnest, restrained growl of annoyance. Are you fucking... And then a lot of hushed murmurs and footsteps. David, Dami, Dia, your doors swing open. All right, come on out, they say gruffly. all the way to the end of the hall inside that door.
Hold it up and walk a little slower than I usually do.
I guess it's time for us to get back to work. It's over.
Unfortunately. So as you're attempting to slow your pace, David, a little blonde boy, as you look in his face, you can tell that he's not in fact a child, but his height makes you immediately think that he's a child. He shoves you. Keep up with your friends, asshole.
I didn't realize they had children embraced here in Milwaukee.
There's a lot you don't realize about Milwaukee. Better a child in body than a child in mind, asshole.
Yeah.
As you guys are led down the hall, pushed inside the door as gently as possible in some cases. In other cases, it is clear that Tommy wants one of you to act out so that he has every reason, every inclination to do what is most near and dear to his heart. So he doesn't gently escort you in, he doesn't gently give a nice little nudge forward. He pushes as hard as he can to either cause you to fall or lash out.
Okay. What's inside the room?
David, are you going to
Actually,
take the
walk to
shove?
the.
What did you say?
Are you going to take the shove? Because he's literally shoving you with every intent of causing you to fall or worse.
I'll take it. No, it's not a good time to lash out.
As you all enter the room, sitting at a table, the only other chair in the room besides the one on this side of the table is Abner. You all have his rough whispers, his gruff bass voice echoing off the walls. We'll have 5 minutes. Then we're going to make our final decision. And he closes the door, leaving the 5 of you inside to speak.
Okay. I took the fall for you assholes. Now, who actually did it?
Is this room bugged?
Not as far as I'm aware, but I don't think they really care.
Well, why don't y'all go complete the mission? I'll stay here and play with these guys. And
No. I already took the fall.
I did too.
I didn't say anything. I refused to talk.
It was you, wasn't it?
80% or so. Yeah.
God damn it, David. I love you like a brother, but what the fuck?
I don't take stress very well.
I figured that much. Okay. Oh my god, I'm gonna get an aneurysm at this point if I was still alive.
And speaking of just being alive, just barely so, as you all have your conversation, we will turn our gaze to 3 days ago in Riverdale at the home of a Mr. James Rich. He has gotten back and he's pacing the floor. He's a little upset because his plan initially, well, you all would have been sent with a shadow. You would have had a clear-cut understanding of the rules laid out. That would have been better bartering with Chicago to ensure that you all got the better end of the deal instead of just a backdoor protection. And most importantly, his childer, for whom he has used several draughts of blood to help with several protection spells around the village, would not be party to anything more than meeting the prince and being the mouthpiece. As it stands, because of fucking Geneva's idea of all for one for all, a community working together, that fucking bullshit. So he's a little pissed. He reaches out, makes a phone call. He calls a number that he knows by heart and has called several times within the last few years. Tries to keep from using too freely lest things spill over, and he owes fucking Blakeney more than he already does. But as the phone is picked up by Teeny, a sigh of relief exits. Hey, she says in her low register conversation takes place, and a few quarter hours later, Tina Teeny and her childer are standing inside Mr. Rich's humbly extravagant abode. On the ride over, Roz, you are given the quick breakdown. There has been some political maneuvering and backdealing, and a lot is resting on the coterie that has been sent to help Milwaukee so that Chicago will back Dalton's independence. They will be the allied partner that no one knows about, so that no one can count on what Chicago may bring to bear, nor what Dalton will level at them.
Interesting. So where did everything go wrong? Because obviously something had to hit the fan.
Well, James speaks up as you finally arrive.
Mhm.
They sent my childer with that group of fucking animals. Each and every last one of them are more anarch than they are tower, and more tower than they are anarch. They don't have a place. Plus, they have several ties to organizations we would not like in our business because they're uncontrolled.
Sounds like a giant pain in the ass.
If it was only that pleasurable. So because Geneva has taken it upon themselves to not ensure their success, I've reached out to your sire and yourself, and I need your assistance. I need the Magister's touch of grace to ensure that my childer and his friends are successful and make it back here alive.
Oh, I can do that. But
They are-
once we
They're
do, we're
going
gonna
to
have
screw up. They're going to screw up. There's no way that they're not. Their temperaments, their personalities, their wholeness of everything is ill-suited to being forced to work together away from the purview of their parents and their guardians. This is a suicide mission because you have the wrong soldiers in the wrong pot. You don't use the Navy to wage a war in the desert.
Ross is going to, when he's going in this small rant, she is going to put a cigarette to her mouth, light it up, and in between puffs of smoke, she just says, "Oh, this is going to be fun."
Well, and your sire rests her hand on your leg. We normally wouldn't assist Mr. Rich, but he regent for the Chantry here in the south suburbs. And as much as we despise a lot of them, he has been useful. He helped with that small issue in Chicago last year. He has also been very helpful in ensuring that Mr. Norris has had all of the proper protections since his assault from the whites. And as such, as a friend to the Magisters as a whole, he received this is extraordinarily dangerous. You can be extraordinarily dangerous, but if you would like to assist Mr. Rich, if you are successful, I will help you become accepted into society at large on your own standing instead of my reputation.
You know, you could have begun with that. I'll take it.
Excellent. Mr. Rich, I know that you are passionately involved with this. Let's say worst case scenario possible. Would you happen to have any information as to how Decker runs his city so that we can ensure the best possible successes? Of course, I have plans. I shouldn't say this, but when I took them out drinking after the I slipped several tracking spells on them. I can tell you where they are within 100 feet. I can tell you, unfortunately, where they will probably end up because of having scried what the future holds. So, you can either follow them where they are, means you'll be a hair late, or you can meet them where they will end up unless, of course, things change.
mean, there's nothing wrong with being a little fashionably late, isn't there?
Besides death? No, not at all.
No, not at all.
Prince Decker is the most violent prince that I have ever known. And I had the opportunity to meet Batel himself. And Decker is even more violent than that. So which would you prefer? To be late and watch them die? Not receive whatever it is that I just offered you? Or would you like to meet them where they're going to end up if everything works the way that I have foreseen?
Obviously, I'm gonna go with whatever gives me the highest chance of success, aren't I?
I should hope so. Your sire speaks very highly of, unlike the mistake that was made in Chicago. Do you know how long it took me to block that one's memory from? Anyway, so, and he jots down an address. Once he hands it over to you, he holds your hand for a second. I normally don't allow smoking in my abode. But because of how important this is to me, I will look over your dereliction of etiquette. And also, I'll thank you in advance for your success. Bring them home, no matter what.
Expect them soon.
So the address where he says they will be is, no lie, no handstand, no exaggeration, is a fortress. It is a former National Guard fort. It was the last one built in Wisconsin. It is 7 stories of fortified ramparts, potential ballista locations, and mortar locations, as well as, luckily for you, none of those things matter. It's a huge empty building for the most part. Secure though it may be, giving vantage and sight lines, it is, for the most part, empty. According to him, they'll be kept in the old ammunition warrens beneath the place, and it's not something that is easily breached because there will be the law of Milwaukee present and touring the location. So how would you go about pulling them out of that location?
An opportunity to bullshit my way in.
You can always attempt that, but you know this is not a jail. This is a black site. People go in to not leave.
Okay. Alright. Give me a moment to look something up. I guess I'm gonna be sneaking in then. Just want to quickly look up one of the powers.
Or here's something to do. You're just gonna try to sneak in, or you're gonna try to other abilities.
I mean, thinking. I think I'm just gonna be sneaking in, and I'm gonna be using Shadow Cloak to give me a leg up on that.
Okay. Alright, so that being the case, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your dexterity?
Sturdy. Okay, plus 12. Am I a hunger 1?
Yes, always 1, and of course you killed someone recently.
Okay.
Or you do something that causes it to raise, but we trust everyone to keep track of their...
Yeah.
Alright, so simple dexterity and larceny roll. You're make it as high as possible.
Yeah, give me a second. So that's okay. I think I did it all right. I haven't used thirst before.
No, that's fine. Yep, dexterity and stealth is total die pool of 4.
Yeah, I'm adding 2 dice because of Shadow Cloak. Because apparently I forgot that I was pretty low on those things, but I'm gonna use willpower to reroll some of those failures, if that's okay.
Okay, click that little emoticon, that emoji there on the bottom where it says 1 to the left, and it'll reroll your power for you.
Okay, cool. There we go.
All right.
Just let me mark out 1 willpower.
Okay. Either we are blessed now, or we are cursed.
Well, we shall see. And as you are sneaking through the facility, the echoing conversations, the illusionary sound that is before you, that is actually coming from behind you, the lack of your own footfall makes the place as equal to crawling through Freddy's nightmare. It is old, it is dilapidated, it is built to last, and even still being built to last to stand off armies. It is not the best of places to be. There's a chill in the air and a scent of iron that tickles the tongue, as if you are sampling something oh so sweet, but long gone. This is a place of death. It was built to be a place of safety and fortification, but it, in fact, is a place of death. Things come here to disappear. Things are added here to never leave. And as of this point forward, you will be approximately 4 rounds behind group. We're going to catch you guys up in a hot second. But as you're sneaking in, the conversations are taking place in Abner's cell. We will take a quick 10 minutes and we'll be back at 37 after the hour.
Okay.
So speaking of addictive, is everyone back?
Yes.
No, I am currently in the Umbra. Okay, bad jokes aside, I'm back for real.
Yeah, I'm
All right,
here.
cool. All right. So we're waiting on Dia and Dami.
Nope, I'm here. Back.
All right. So, in the pell-mell, the verbal scrum of being in the room with your coterie, your troop, the people that have gotten you this far, whether it's by accident or falling upwards or downwards, as the case may be, here you all are. Is there anything besides the revelation that both Abner and Dami have offered their heads on a platter for you all to escape?
Alright, so we all know that they're not going to go, right? Or they're going to let us go in pieces.
I mean, we need to find a way out of it. Just, you know how many kindred are in here. Me and you are the best at sneaking. Maybe we can scout in different directions and try to head back here and signal the rest.
I'm better at sneaking whenever I know the layout. I try to know the layout of the location before I sneak in. I usually try to do that. Unfortunately, I know nothing.
I take offense at that. I'm pretty good at sneaking when I want to.
And besides, we still need to figure out if we were to, and I quote, try to sneak out. The only problem with that is, I don't have the ability to sneak on command.
Well, I guess I got us into this shit mostly. I'll shout ahead.
Oh, you know, we could always just blame Everett and then leave.
Yes,
Well,
blame the
at this
dead
point-
man that isn't here.
They
Hey,
might have
he
found his
died
body
of
by now.
How much you want to bet they're not going to believe us?
Everett saved
Worth a
us
try.
twice now, but doesn't mean he said a third time post-mortemly. Or it's post-mortemly.
I mean, I
It
don't know
could be
what
a
you're
lot
talking
worse. We
about.
could have blamed.
The
what?
cops believed he was the one that shot up the hotel, so why wouldn't
Yeah,
he?
I just said twice. I don't know if third's gonna work.
Okay, why do they think that? Oh my god, you told them that, didn't you?
Why shouldn't you?
It worked.
I mean, it does work, yes.
And he can't be killed by the SI anymore. The Lupin already did that for him.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how the fuck there was a lupine in the SI crowd. Look, if you want to sneak out, you have to figure out a good way. The ventilation is not the best, but it's a good alternative, especially if you're good at making yourself light.
I'm not so good at that, but I'm not as athletic. large in frame.
I can't fit in the ventilation shaft. That's not gonna work.
Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna try to find a ground way to go. I might need some sort of distraction as I leave the room. As I may try to make that myself, but I'm not so good at that.
Yeah, my body is not meant for upfront confrontation. I have to be sneaky.
Okay, why don't we do this? Let them play their game out because obviously they're not going to kill us. We would have did it already. The prince himself have us doing a mission, so obviously take precedence. So they're just basically having a huge circle jerk right now, just to try to
Most likely, but also
Mhm.
I wouldn't put past a lot of us to do this and then kill us and then blame it on everyone else.
You saw how Decker acted when I even mentioned the word lupine. He's completely off his rocker. He's about to wild shape change when I rip us both apart.
They also seem to think you're from Chicago for some stupid reason.
Really?
Well, I can understand how they made that mistake.
Stone's small, I guess.
No, because we're here because remember we got sent this way by we were sent as an envoy for the Hounds for Chicago under the leadership of what's his name?
Oh, I forgot about that. I thought they would tell who we were.
That's the best way Chicago can get brownie points without having to risk any of their hounds. Have some other dupes, which is us, to do that job for them. And if we die, they'll stick up their nose.
Exactly. It's a suicide mission. It's always been a suicide mission.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
But won't this damage Milwaukee's and Chicago's relations?
I mean, they don't. If we die, they can blame it on the lupine we just escaped.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. No, we have to get out of here. They want us dead and cover it up.
Actually, it wouldn't work from me dying. My sire knows where I am.
Hold on.
I mean, do you think
hold on.
Stop.
What?
That wouldn't work. My sire knows where I am.
Explain.
Last night in the hotel, I made a phone call.
Did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I understand. I had no idea if you did or not.
Okay, so you made a phone call. That means if you do die here, which, by the way, they chances are don't know about that, if they still think we're from Chicago, then if you die, your sire will have all the reason in the world to fuck them over. So we're basically a catalyst for a war now.
Which is why I told them that they were stupid, because they didn't seem to know all of the things that they should know for this situation.
I imagine James is fuming too about Everett.
Yeah, on that. Yeah, we're probably dead the moment we go back home.
Yeah, probably.
You know what? Pissing off the witch is never good.
I mean, to be fair, we all tried to save him.
True.
Let's stop thinking about our deaths. Let's get our way down here.
And
We'll get out of here.
And while speaking of True, the door opens and Rubiana walks in. Well, have you all had the opportunity to say goodbye?
No, actually. Can you give us 5 minutes? I say in a sarcastic voice.
Roth was very right about you. You two, as the scapegoats for this situation, will remain here. You, she says, looking at David and then looking at Dia, and you will follow me.
No dice. I don't leave my coterie.
I don't think you have a choice?
No, unfortunately. Instead, you believe that this is a human proceeding and chose to exercise your right to remain silent. It may be in your best interest to maintain that self-illusion. And right this way, please. She motions towards the open door.
Before we leave, what's your name again? I didn't quite catch it last time.
Oh, well, for the record, my name is Rubiana.
I
And
told your associate
you,
something, and I think he should have checked in on it. Apparently he did not, because now you're separating us.
yes, we are.
Yeah.
These two have chosen to bear the responsibility of what has befallen your actions here. And while they are properly packed for shipping, you two
To the wrong city.
be escorted to.
You cut the silence with a butter knife, Abner says aloud.
And she's literally silently waiting for you two to exit.
How tall is she exactly?
5'7", 5'8".
Okay.
Too bad you never caught our fifth member. He's still out there.
It will not be long if he's still in the city limits. But first, there are things that we must attend. And your footsteps in this direction are needed for us to proceed further.
Oh, you'll be sorry. He's a elder Grangul. Takes the form of a gigantic Siberian bear.
Oh my god. Are you serious right now, David?
I'm dead serious.
Don't worry, David. We'll catch up with you later. Just leave the GPS on the car. I'll catch up to you later.
That's a promise, okay?
That's a
David
promise.
puts out his hand.
You know, if I lie and say that you didn't mean nothing to me, will that get you out of here faster?
Wow, I'm hurt. Okay. David
Finish
makes
the
a wound.
mission. Yeah, we'll catch up with you later, okay? Keep David from killing someone.
I looked at Dia and said, actually, yeah, I agree with him there. Please.
Fine. She walks fast out into the hallway like she's at a fashion show.
As you step out into the hall, you realize that just outside the easy line of sight from the door, the other members of the newbie are standing there. And there's a fifth member that you had not realized was part of their group. They're all conversing and quietly murmuring amongst themselves. Akawa and Mr. Guerin are clearly the more immature and violent, but that's not saying much considering it, as a lot of them seem to be carrying hidden blades and various other implements to cause destruction to the supernatural. Whereas most people would assume that it's guns or large implements of death. No, they are more focused on skill. They do have heavy artillery, which you've seen the other night, but they seem to be the sort to hunt a thing down and carve it into small pieces. Their fifth member, who you all didn't get a chance to meet, Julia, is leaning against the wall nearer to Rotholf than the others, but she, unlike the others, makes it very apparent that she is watching you intently and listening to the back and forth in the room inside. David, do you exit? Or do you make
Yes, I'll end it with you.
As you two exit, Rubiana follows behind you and leaves the door cracked. I'll be escorting you all to the waiting area. Are there any questions I can tell you of Milwaukee trivia?
How many have you lost?
Being here often enough.
Very good. Excellent. I don't know any Milwaukee trivia. Unless it's pertaining to how many per capita lupines are slaughtered every year, or how many kindred are lost to the pernicious grounds that the lupines assault. They are terrorists. There is no other way to properly denote what they are. It takes about 6 minutes for her to get you all leading. Inside our comfortable couch and chair, we have several other armchairs, and she takes the armchair across the room and takes a seat. It shouldn't take too much longer, actually. As she settles in the chair, we switch our gaze back. Roz, finding a slew of kindred is not an issue. Being as the fort is for the most part unoccupied, desolate space, following the sounds of voices, the few that there are there, is easy enough. And with your successes, sneaking past the gaggle of kindred in the hall into the open door is even easier. So you are able to witness that exchange.
Okay. So what Ross is going to do is that once she is in, right, instead of like continuing to solid snake it, right, she is going to basically pretend like she belongs.
So that you are aware, in the room where you are currently, having snuck your way through the entirety of the fort, is a tall African American, wide of shoulder, thin of waist, heavy of thigh. He looks like the sort that would be either a tight end or a member of a rifle team for a military unit. You've seen people like him from Central Casting playing roles as SEAL team members or snipers or some other off-the-line military man, is what his bearing and carriage denotes. Not to mention his soft tactical rig that he's wearing as well. And also in that room is a gentleman. How tall are you again, Abner?
Give me a second. Yes, I'm joking. 175 centimeters.
So 5'6", 5'7".
Yes.
And they're the only two in the room, and the door is pulled to. It's not completely closed. It's left partially open. These are clearly the two of the members that you were sought out to find. What is it that you are doing at this moment? You're in the room with them. It's a 10 by 16 room with walls thick enough to withstand at least a punches, a soft sparring punch from the Hulk.
Okay, so what I'm going to try to do again is pretend that I'm new here, pretend that I should be working here, and just ask the guy that you mentioned, like the guy who looks like a rifleman, in regards to the two that are in the room. So what do these do?
You're in the room with them. Okay. Otherwise, the four you pass in the hallway initially, as members of the Anubi, they work in close concert with one another. They are executors of the prince's will. They are they're typically jury and executioner for anyone who steps out of line, which are usually the Lupin. In this particular case, they have unfortunately indulged the prince's lenience, and so they're waiting for whatever they were waiting for. And as they were waiting, you snuck past them into the room to find these two in this room, as they clearly Nosferatu woman, a dark skinned woman with long purplish hair, I thought. I'm not sure, I forget. And another gentleman who looks as if he works on cars even in his dreams are escorted out. Once they leave the room and the door is pulled to, lightly closed, it's not as cracked open. What is it that you're attempting to do in this room with these two gentlemen?
Do we see him at this point?
No.
But I see the door pull to.
When Rubiana leaves with David and Dia, yes.
All right. Interesting. I can still hear the conversation outside, right?
Yeah, there's not much of a conversation. They're pretty much joking around with each other. They're not talking about anything important yet. So Roz, in the room with these two captured prisoners, is there anything that you're attempting to do? Or are you going to remain silent and out of
I'm gonna remain silent, out of the way for now. I don't think there's much I can do at the moment.
I look to Dami and whisper, "All right, Do you see a way out?
Yeah.
And I swear to God, if it's the front door.
No. What I would think is when they come to get one of us, I'll choose to go first. And while they're dealing with trying to restrain me, I would suggest you take the ventilation system and get out of here. I'll work my way out of here. Don't worry about me, but get out.
We both know they're going to take us both at the same time, right?
They're not going to take us both because it's a torture technique. I wouldn't, if I was torturing someone, I would take them one at a time, let the other one hear the other person suffer. See torture that much easier. Because they still have no idea what happened. And that's kind of the important thing. They want to know what happened. So if they're torturing us for information, they'll take one, hurt one, and then try to get the other one to confess or to spill the beans. That's why they put us all together so that we can all tell the story. And so if I was torturing for information, then yeah, I would take them one at a time. If I was just trying to kill them, and they'll probably take us both, at which point then it's going to get ugly. I still got my K-bar. What you got on you?
No, you don't.
Actually, I've made my success roll, so unless they beat me on my success roll, I still have my K-bar. They took my guns, but not my K-bar.
No, you missed your roll, and that's what was.
No, I didn't. I actually got like 6 successes. Unless I'm thinking about another game.
You are.
Okay.
Well, I got nothing. My weapons can be anything made of wood, as long as it can be sharpened into a point. Which, unfortunately, the only thing wood is probably this wood table out of character.
No, it's an old school metal one.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So unless we had wood, which, by the way, there is no wood in this entire room, we got
That's
nothing.
okay. I can break this table down sharp enough and get a couple of sharp-bladed weapons. They won't be ideal, and they won't last very long, but something quick to use to slash and stash would be useful at least.
Actually, while we're talking, I say, I have an idea. I turn on Silence of Death. I thought there was going to be a response to that. Alright. Oh shit, I just remembered it's free.
Okay.
Anyway, okay, I guess I forgot about that part. I looked to the Is there a ventilation shaft in this room?
No, it's for it's for armaments. You guys are literally in ammunition storage of what the fort once was. These rooms are designed just to hold non-living things until they need to come down and grab them and put them in a cannon, which, well, there's no cannon right now. So, as you all are discussing your plans to, take off your shirt and man up and fight your way out by tooth and claw, the door swings open. Standing in the doorway is the man, the myth, the legend himself, Rolf, and he smiles, which is a disconcerting fact when you look into a face of the last living Viking warrior crossed with a bear. He smiles and smirks. I don't agree with your decision. It would have been far easier for only one of you. But, and he draws 2 tomahawks from the back of his holstered coat. He tosses them towards your feet. Taking a half step back, pulls an axe from his right coat pocket and from his left. We are going to lock you in. Whoever exits the room will have the opportunity to leave with their associates in one piece. If no one exits the room, then we will come in and dismember you.
I turn off Silence of Death right quick and say, game theory. We, again, are just doing game theory.
If this is what you call it, then yes.
I literally worked with the government when I was alive. I know for a fact how we do this. It is very common. We do it all the time. $5 says we still do it.
You work for the government.
I worked for the government. but now I'm dead.
I see. Very good. And he steps back and closes the door.
Okay, did he honestly just tell us that we have to actually fight each other and whoever comes out the door, whoever goes out of the door can leave? Did he just say that?
Yes, he just said that, Dommy.
Out of character, wouldn't anyone just use those weapons to attack the person who just threw them to?
I mean, it's a fucking Viking. Out of character. I'm not fighting that.
Yeah, and I have 0 decimally, so that ain't happening either.
I look to Dommy and say, we both know I'm the better fighter, right?
Weapon fighter, yeah.
I'm also the better one when it comes to literally just dirty fighting as well, right?
That's debatable.
Your shoe's undone.
Yeah, okay. So how about this? Why don't we both pick up an axe and dive out the door at the same time, and then we can tell him to go fuck himself because we both exited a door at the same time. No way to tell who came out first. And that's the hole in his theory, so he can go blow himself and we can leave.
We both know that's not gonna work, but you know what? Fuck it, why not?
Well, so, Roz, listening to this, is there anything you would choose to offer?
I may have an idea, but it requires Viking dude to come back in the room. Stupid, but it's an idea.
Is that what you tell them?
No. What I think by this point, I'm like hearing these two go about like how they're gonna fight each other. I'm like, you good two are not fooling anyone, right?
I throw the tomahawk I just got off the floor at the voice I heard.
Do I have to like dodge or something?
No, you're too close for it to get a proper spin, so smashing against your chest, the back blunt edge of the tomahawk and the haft of it.
Ow.
Sorry, reflex. What the fuck are you? How do you get in here? You know what? I don't want to know.
Well, that doesn't really matter. What matters is that someone out there really wants you guys to be alive, and I'm supposed to be here to get you out of here.
Why do I not believe you?
That's fine. Not many people do, but trust me, I'm not bullshitting you at this moment.
One of the sires who's still alive sent you here just for their own childer.
No, they didn't send me for one of their childer. They sent me for the whole shebang. And now I just saw that part of said group just got dragged to God knows where. So at least I'm going to try to at least help you guys out before we get your friends.
Okay. Let's say I believe you.
Sure.
What's your plan?
Well, that's a very good question. I usually bullshit my way out of these, but sadly doesn't seem like it's going to work.
Yeah, there's a fucking Viking outside.
Yeah, I noticed. I feel like I can do something about that, though.
I'm concerned, but I'm curious.
What do you think he values most, his arms or his legs?
He's a Viking. I'm going to say his arms.
Noted. You guys want to get him back in here? I'll just be in the corner.
There's no way in hell we're going to get him back in here easy. You have an idea, Dommy?
Question, there's a way I can sneak my way back into the room and find Viking dude?
Well, the door is closed. You'd have to open it, which would break your obfuscate.
I mean, I'm not using obfuscate, but yeah. Just really good shadow bullshit.
Shadow is brain. I cannot remember the word. Oblivion power.
Yeah, oblivion.
And while you guys are contemplating who's going to dismember whom and how you guys are going to dismember or not dismember, as the case may be, we turn our gaze. Sitting quietly in the room with Rubiana, is there anything that Dia and David would like to offer? Because she is perfectly sitting as if this is a doctor's office or a mechanic's, and she's just waiting.
So, I don't think your little blonde friend likes me very much.
Doesn't like me either.
He doesn't. Thomas does not enjoy anyone.
No, but I think I especially pissed him off.
No, he didn't. I don't believe that he has any setting as angry at the world. Most people need an inciting incident. They need a reason to vent their darker impulses. Thomas only needs opportunity.
So, as I was saying before we left the room, I have a feeling your information about this whole situation is mostly incorrect. But I understand.
No.
Chasing rebinds is very hard.
It is. It is not, in fact, incorrect. What you perceived, based on what you've shared, that the body parts would be sent, the body of the punished kindred would be sent to Chicago in air. Your party, your coterie, your group are here on behest of Chicago. If Chicago rented your services, I'm sorry that they did not, in fact, receive their money's worth. But business goes that way sometimes. And as such, when you would be returned, you'd be returned to Chicago. If they saw fit to perhaps throw, discard, or otherwise destroy what was sent them, that would be on them and you. But as the kindness that it is, your escape from Milwaukee after having caused such chaos would be the kindest offer we have.
No, I do think it's not, actually. I think a thank you would be more in order since we came here to help.
You came to help. I understand that may be what you believe. However, if I were to enter your home and I were to shit on your carpet, would you thank me because it was only a small pile? Or would you insist I help you fix it?
Depends on how much I like the
I
carpet.
don't have a carpet in my trailer.
I didn't believe as much such for you. You remind me of a dearly departed member of our society. But the roads can be dangerous. Not to judge a book by its cover, but now that step past the initial offering like conversation, I must ask, why are you with them? You don't seem to match with the other 3 members of your group.
Guys, please.
How to say this? Angry
No.
X.
Shh, go call your dad. He's not doing anything. Go call him. Go. Go call him.
There's a soft rapping at the door. She frowns. Well, that was far quicker than I expected. Normally, never mind. She stands and moves toward the door.
Okay. Is this quick enough period?
What was that?
Is this quick enough period to try to sneak behind her? I mean, outside the door without her noticing?
Well, there's only 3 of you in here. It's not like she wouldn't notice your absence. You can always just body tackle her. You can take her to the ground.
Yeah.
But you could always do whatever. There is a 2v1 situation potentially here.
David's gonna attempt to tackle her as she's distracted.
Okay.
Is that strength plus athletics, right?
Yes. Alright, let's see. What does the Nosferatu have left in her? Let's take a look, shall we? Alright, well that sucks. As you see David immediately start to move toward Rubiana, is there anything that Dia is going to do?
Probably raise a brow as to what the heck is going on, but be there just in case. Like lockstep as he attempts to take her down.
I'm sorry, guys. Give me one quick second.
I thought of an amazing plan. It'll get us, and it will make sure that it'll make sure that we all escape easily.
Do share.
No, basically, me and Dami just leave at the same time, like you suggested.
Yeah. That sounds like a good idea.
Oh, it's a terrible idea, but I like it.
Well, I'm kind of expecting them not being so quick on the uptake, since if they say, hey, you have to do this, as long as we abide by what they say, they would either A, have to change their idea or change their approach. Game theory doesn't work when you actually do things that's outside of the boundaries, i.e., here's your parameters. When you change your parameters, then they really have to wait, because if they're waiting on the prince's say-so, then if we do things that's unexpected, then they really can't move forward. They have to kind of reassess and get more input.
Or they just beat the shit out of us.
All right,
I don't
and we're
think they
back.
can
Sorry
do that.
about that sorry for that small segue. But the coconut water is having its full effect on me tonight. So, as we were in the midst of a daring dive forward to try to bring Rubiana to the ground, David, you hit solid wall. You didn't see her move, but as you went to tackle, she somehow centered herself and spun, sending you into the wall. There is a myth that Nosferatu make easy prey, because they typically do everything they can to not get physical. Because when they do, they are as monstrous as their visage presents. And in this moment, as you smack against the wall and hear the hiss of her serpent-like jaw unhinging, those fangs, which are not vampiric in nature but are completely serpentine, begin to spray spittle as she hisses. We cut our eye back towards Dami, Abner, and Roz. So the door's closed. You have 2 tomahawks. What is it that you're attempting to do?
I pick up a tomahawk, put it in my back pocket. I pick up the other one, hand it to Dami.
I'm
Put it in my
going
pocket.
I'm going to position myself in such a way so like when the door opens, like it's gonna like cover me. So I'm gonna use that to hide.
And then me and Dami are going to attempt to walk out at the same time. This is a terrible plan, I say out loud.
So you guys are going to open the door and step out together, pretty much shoulder to shoulder, well, turn towards each other or outwards, basically shoulder to shoulder.
Basically, as best we can, the same time.
Okay, so you guys open the door, which Abner knows is not in fact locked. And true to their words, it is not locked. As you open the door, the both of you standing side by side, Roth standing just to the right of your view in the doorway, just to the left of your view is Thomas. On Thomas's right is Akawa, and in the shadow of Roth is a smaller young lady who has a fall hawk. Otherwise, her head is bald. She has a dark Mediterranean complexion, and the top of her head only reaches to Dami's, just above Dami's solar plexus. And Roth says, "That is unfortunate." Tommy laughs. Fucking yeah. And Akawa does a small incline of his head, bowing. The young lady says nothing. She instead moves to Ralph's left, forming a half circle in front of the door. Ralph, however, takes a half step forward. his axe is in hand and rolls his shoulder. Being as and in the doing so, it is obvious that they asked or presumed the opportunity for one of you to execute their duties for them, to keep their inherent bloodlust at bay. If one of you dismembered the other or dropped the other, they wouldn't have to drop you both. And true to his word and honoring his prince, that was what was going to happen. Unfortunately, in choosing option Z between A and B, you have unleashed Cisco's. That wasn't Cisco. What group was it? Either way, you know for a fact who let the dogs out. Would you all be so kind as to relate to me who has the higher wits?
I have 3.
I have 3.
I have 3.
Okay. So in that case, let's keep it alphabetical between you all, and knowing that what is going to befall you all, as they initially were going to allow you their job for them, and now their aim is to drop you both into pieces, keeping your head intact so they can ship you back via FedEx. Abner, what is your action?
My action is a shit idea. Since I don't have a two-handed weapon, or well, a heavy weapon, I'm gonna have to make best with what I do. I take the tomahawk and effectively say, actually I say nothing, as I just basically go for, I'm basically gonna just try to attempt to disable the Viking. Out of character, I know for a fact that this isn't gonna work, but hey, here's hoping.
Okay, how are you going to attempt to disable Rolf?
I guess attempt to cut off the hand he's using, one of his hands, to basically make it harder for him to use his axe.
Okay. And Dami. As Abner goes running forward, what are you doing?
Draw the axe, the tomahawk, and I am going to attempt to rush past him and take his shoulder blade out by burying the tomahawk edge as deeply as I can to the shoulder blade, between the shoulder blade and the actual rib cage, and twist, which will pop the shoulder blade completely out, disabling the entire arm.
Okay, that's disturbing how you know that.
Oh, so never mind.
So
shoulder blade's the weakest joint in the entire body.
Oh yeah.
So
That's the reason why I said dirty fighting is maybe
Storyteller is trying to speak. I'm so sorry.
No, perfectly fine. So to simplify, so we can, you're going to attempt to slice through his shoulder blade. Abner's attempting to slice through the same gentleman's wrist. And what is it that you're seeing, Roz, as you see them go blurring out with?
I wanna see if I can find a way to sneak behind Rolf, and I want to use Touch of Oblivion on both of his arms.
Doesn't that only work on living mortals?
It works on vampires.
Oh yeah, it does. I remember now. Shit.
Okay. Well, my fine feathered friend, Abner, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll strength and melee? Dami, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll strength plus melee? And Roz, would you be so kind as to roll your dexterity and stealth plus your obfuscate? Otherwise, there is no way for you to sneak up because
Dexterity plus stealth.
You are all leaving out of the room at the same time.
Oh god. This is either a failure or... Oh god. I kinda want to keep it though, because it's just painful for Ravner and I love it.
I'm going to Blood Surge, by the way. So.
Okay.
Hey, so I get 100.
Yes.
Okay, so give me a moment. I just need to do the count of the total.
I think this would be a good time to blood surge because, yeah, I've never did it before, so I'm going to try it.
I should have blood surged first. I should have.
question: Do I use my new hunger rating after failing the rouse, or
No, that'll be the next
blo-
one.
for blood surge, your hunger increases after the roll.
okay? Thank you.
Yes, I had to look this up recently. I did not know this beforehand.
Tommy, what's your roll? All right, so let's see what hell is. All right. So, as you all rush out and target Roth, completely ignoring the other 3 kindred who are in the area preparing to savage you with all due haste and speed. You all cross the distance between the door and Roth like God himself is propelling you forward. The axe lands on, the tomahawk lands across his wrist, biting in. Just at the instant, Tommy drags his tomahawk across Roth's chest, missing the shoulder connection. And I didn't quite look up, but just touch of a second so I can properly lay that information.
Basically, if he's expecting me, it's gonna be a contested strength plus brawl. But if he doesn't, then I'm basically gonna do 2 aggravated and a crippling injury.
Usually sneak attacks are dexterity plus stealth versus wits plus awareness.
Sure, let's not even bother with that. We're gonna split the difference. You're going to hit because in the pell-mell, in the scrum of you rushing forth to attack one singular target out of all, present your backs and attacks of opportunity if this was D&D. Luckily, it's not. So what happens is the worst gang fight you all have ever witnessed and been privy to, as Raz, who is not a very physical person, manages to sneak just outside of Rolf's immediate perception, lunging forward and touching as both tomahawks bite down on the bear of a man. The others, however, have not forgotten about you, and the additional person gives them the opportunity that the jig is up, there's something amiss, and their knives, machete, honest to God, 12-inch shuriken being used as a blade, bites it down on each of you all. Could you tell me your stamina? Got it here.
Stamina is shit, aka 1.
1.
Tommy?
I think Tommy's is actually the highest.
Do I have the choice of fortitude?
What's your stamina?
3.
3. And let me guess, you have fortitude for body, correct?
I do.
Excellent. That's always a good thing, and especially in a situation where you are being slaughtered. Being as it is edged damage that you guys are doing, while it is not aggravated, you have it. So there's this reason for the bonus of your stamina. Abner in the pell-mell, in the scrum, while slashing tactical assault and eating of your flesh, you 4 health levels.
I didn't hear.
You receive 4 health.
So that was already halved?
No, that's the total. That's all you're receiving. It's not halved. It's because it's not it's not specifically superficial, meaning it's not a bludgeoning. It's not it's an edge weapon. They're trying to cut off pieces of it. So it's just 4 health levels. Raz, being in this pell-mell, in this scrum,
if I'm losing 4 health levels, I'm just down. I'm dead.
Okay. Send me a copy of your health levels currently are. Aggravated, superficial, 1 mark, cross.
You said I just have 4 health.
Okay.
That's it. Are you saying damage or like the health level is actually lower? Because now I'm very confused.
Okay. Send me where Abner's health level is right now. How many superficial, how many aggravated he has received.
Okay. There you go.
Okay, so perfect. Now give me one quick second here. Let me go ahead and send you this back. Quick second.
By the way, sorry for the whole interrupting and stopping thing. I got very confused.
This is what your health tracker should look like currently. Total your health based on the damage that you just received. Send it back in the die roller channel for you.
All right.
Wait, that didn't. Why didn't it come? We'll do this. All right, and Roz, you see 4 health levels. Have you received any of the damage that would obfuscate or change your health tracker? Are all your boxes empty?
All my boxes are empty.
All right, so Roz, your health tracker should look like this. How many total health do you have?
4. Okay.
And what level fortitude do you have, Dami? Do you have?
I have 1 level in fortitude, but it's the power I have is unsoilable mind, so it does nothing for my health.
Yes.
I have 2 dots in fortitude, toughness, and received no damage as of yet.
All right, and what's your total health tracker?
I've never learned to read these things, but there's 6 circles.
Stamina plus 3.
Okay, stamina plus 3. That'll be 6. Which is kind of what I thought, but I wasn't 100% sure.
Sorry, I had to go a little old school. Give me a quick second here. Alright, so, Dami, in the exchange, our health tracker should look like this.
Okay.
Alright. And as the wild savage kindred are attempting to slay and otherwise dismember each other, cries of pain as Roth is clearly not the man of steel that everyone expects him to be or had targeted him to be. Is still tough enough to be standing through this onslaught, but just barely. There was a scene in a movie several generations ago about the 13th Warrior where their leader died on the throne, still holding his sword. It's a similar situation for Roth as you are beset and assault him with everything that you have and give nearly as good as you get. And in that moment, as death is a real possibility, multiple parties take our look at David. The wall tastes like frustration. Dia, you saw her move, but it's one of those situations of watching a train wreck that you know nothing about happen in slow motion while the world speeds up around you. Standing face to face with a very angry and very pissed off Nosferatu has forsaken the attempts to seem humane in this moment. What is it that you two are doing?
David's gonna try to back up a bit away from this freaking snake monster in front of him.
It's a really strange question, but I'm in one of those moods, so why not? Would seduction work?
It hurt.
In a pinch, yes, you can attempt to seduce the dragon.
So you roll first, and you want to know what I say first.
It's all about what you say, because what you say may not quite settle, but to give you a best footing possible. What you've noticed about is that she takes immaculate care of her hair. She is dressed as you would expect a model or a spy from a late 80s action movie to be. Her trench coat, while long and covers her from neck to just below calf, hugs her form. She could easily hide weapons, but her hips and svelteness is very, very obvious. Her boots that she's wearing are meant for the runway and not tactical assault. Though the way that she maneuvers, you can tell that there's not much difference between the two for her.
Wait, out of character. As Dave is trying to back up away from her, can I rouse Blood Rush to boost my strength a little bit? Going hand to hand here.
Of course.
Okay.
So Dia is going to very pointedly put themselves between David and our captor, if you could say, and smile. Okay, calm down, beautiful. Your hair and your sense of dress tells me that we should be much more civilized, and I'm sorry things got off on a wrong foot, but can't we try and be friends? Your body is immaculate, and I love your boots.
Alright, so let's do this.
Didn't you pretend to helmet her face?
Would you go ahead and roll manipulation and persuasion? Persuasion or subterfuge? Whichever is higher. And she'll roll her wits and there's a softening of her stance. She's not quite hissing as loud. You've spoken fully enraged or caught off guard, so you know it's a little difficult to speak with fangs completely extended. But she somehow manages it. Probably because, well, her fangs look exactly as you would expect from a poisonous adder versus a kindred. What is it that you think you are doing?
Honestly, that one's a little dumb. So, don't mind him, honestly. We will sit and behave, I promise you. Come, David, sit. Let the nice lady be calm.
I think I hear our friends out there having fun with the Viking, other friends.
Do we hear the scuffle outside? Because if they do, then...
I assume we would, sorry.
Okay. Dia doesn't have heightened senses.
I do have, but I did not roll it.
Okay. So, no, not quite. You guys did walk for about 4 or 5 minutes to get to another portion where you guys are going to have what's left of your friend or friends shipped to you, which was the plan for you all to wait while they were dismembered and the case was brought to you. So you guys didn't leave all at once. So there's a little bit of space between where it's happening. Speaking of what's happening, as the onslaught goes back and forth and you all are hacking and slashing and touching and exploding, and Roth is managing to keep his feet but just barely, what is it that we are doing?
You know, the worst part is I think this was supposed to be a peace mission, but it feels like it's about to be war between a lot of cities. But I don't care. I say as I'm literally hacking up blood a bit.
Okay, so you assault Roth?
No, I'm literally hacking out blood because I have 1 health and that's not aggravated. That hurts. I look to the one that actually managed to injure me and I say to them, well, if I'm going down, I'm killing someone. And then I say as I stab into the guy standing.
Okay. So you're attacking Roth again. Just a slash and try to finish. Dami.
Toss the blade to Abner, go hand to hand because I'm much better at hand to hand. And I'm assuming that he got Roth. I'm looking at the other ones.
Okay, there are 4 of them there, including Roth, which the short, childlike blonde, the High Plains First Peoples college professor, or the Mediterranean one, i.e. the Fallhawk that is the only bit of hair on her head.
Okay. Say this. We can keep doing this until everyone dies, or we can call it square and we can all leave. Choice. And I look at all 4 of them.
So you're going to try to talk it out as Abner attacks. Roz, what are you doing? This is the most physically damaged you have been in recent history.
Can I try helping Dami?
To attempt to talk it out instead of.
Yeah, and by what I'm going to do to help him talk it out is I'm going to use Shadowcast. So, the important part is that for anyone standing within the shadow's reach, the willpower damage from social conflict increases by 1 after having for superficial harm. Standing in Oblivion's shadow is a terrifying prospect. Basically, I'm literally doing stage lighting to help him out here.
That works.
Alright, so Abner, go ahead and roll your strength, and Dami, go ahead. Your manipulation plus performance. How many dots of Oblivion do you have, Roz?
3.
And that puts you at a +0, -0 with Roz's assistance. Don't worry about using it to assist his dog.
Okay.
You completely mitigate all of his minuses, so that Dami, you have your
Question for you, out of character. Can I change the inflection to make it more of an intimidation?
Realistically, you all were supposed to cut off somebody's hand, somebody's leg, and come out of the door so they can ship you back to Chicago. You guys came out of the door swinging and triggering their own frenzy. Not actual frenzy, but their social, violent tendency. Scaring them off, triggering the fight or flight, you kind of know what they're going to choose. So you may open a pathway for one of you to escape, but that would be the best case opportunity in the situation, outside of just taking off and running.
Enough, because frenzied vampires are easier to control than those with their wits about them.
Not quite. You have the wrong system, but that's fine. Make that wrong.
Okay, the only reason I'm asking is because I have 2 dice to go with and 4 dice if I do this as an intimidation. And you didn't like that. Hey, 2 successes.
There was a space.
Was it? Oh. Got it.
Alright, so I really don't want to roll this. You guys, are you all okay with just storying it out? Because I really don't want you to roll this with your 2 dice. Even giving the automatic +1 success from Roger's assisting you. There is not a positive outcome here. Die pool alone, not that they can take a half during a combat situation. It was supposed to be a trying situation. Pressed a little bit. Make a hard decision. The hard decision is who would be on the chopping block. They were true to their word, and that was the actual agreement. Even now, with you all pushing them harder and higher than expected, they unfortunately have numbers on their side. So, at this point, of the 3 of you, will not lose their arms, not lose their legs, and not be put into a box. Yes, it's painful. Yes, it's demoralizing, but that was their whole.
Abner.
There was only one of you who would not go into the box, it was only one of you all who would go into the box, as well as, unfortunately, in this situation, that of the 3 of you, the 2 of you would go into the box, and you'd all be shipped to where Dia and Joshua are waiting. Yana barely contained, considering that Joshua attempted to ram her through the floor.
You can go either way, Abner. Which way you want to play it?
I mean, I'm cool with Abner dying.
Dismemberment, unfortunately, won't cause death. It may cause torpor, but it wouldn't cause death because they're limbs and legs and taping
Again.
and shipping you to Chicago.
Either way, I'm good with it. That said, I do want to point out, out of character, I do want Abner to just go down swinging a little bit, if that's okay. Because he literally can only take 1 more hit. So, either way, he's going down one way or the other. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm. So, Raz, Dami, who's going to be assisted on their feet, leaking and bleeding, messing with chunks and gobbles of their flesh in the box?
I don't know. Abner seems cool with it. So,
Normally, I'd rather be the one who does it, but if Abner's cool with it, I don't care.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's going to be two of the three. So I'm going to ask between Dami and Raz, which of you be in the box and which would you be battered and beaten and slashed and hacked? Because that's literally what took place. You all charged into a grinder and came out the other side.
Okay, I'll go in the box.
So as Abner takes Dami's tomahawk and leaps forward, catching Roth, bringing him down on top of him as they both enter into that land between lands being dead and new, the facsimile of life that the kindred exists in. And Dami channels his inner darkness and realizes that in the time since his exit from the service and in Olamide, his chance of living, and in the touch of this coterie, in the touch of this troupe, there has been a shifting of him, a quietude he is working towards and that he has experienced has added a light to that darkness. And instead of causing them to flee from him, instead of opening a path, it triggers and chums water of their savagery, because as he does so, Roth falls under Abner's blades and they attack. Roth was their light, he was their noble savagery, and with their leader fallen, torpor or curse, their worst impulses take hold. It is savage, but it is true to their word. Ensure that you will make it into the box. Ship back to Chicago. And Raz, you've never seen such savagery. So you are accustomed to dealing with an understanding amongst thieves. You're used to dealing with understanding. Engage with the police in Dalton and Riverdale. It's an understanding. You got a job. I got a job. All of us, we either want to make it home or to jail. So there's a armistice of sorts that takes place. Yeah, there are a few shots fired into the air. They'll purposely miss or hit the vehicle, but everyone makes it to where they're jail. This is not that. This is the most medieval, back-asswards call from a man's darkness that you have had the displeasure of witnessing as the blades flash and flesh is taken, and these two men willing to go into hell and beyond fall. They turn away, stopping only because Roth did assure them one of the people would be able to walk away. And while you don't get tired because lactic acid doesn't build up, enough is enough. You know that there's a line that after you cross it, there is no returning. Moments later, Dia, David are greeted with a shipping crate lid not quite sealed on. There's the stench of kindred vitae, and standing next to the shipping crate, escorted by the other Anubi, Raz, beaten, battered, sliced, and savaged. There's a van with the doors. They say they take a step back and point down the hall. We expect you all to be out of the city in 30 minutes.
Would David roll frenzy? He's at 300 and his friends have just been killed.
Yes, you can if you like. You know that they're not dead, otherwise there wouldn't be any leaking vitae. There'd be dust, but they have been savaged.
I'm just saying, like, from the frenzy hierarchy in the book.
No, you're absolutely correct. They have been savage. You know that they're not dead, otherwise they're dust, but they have been savage. Didn't believe, because Geneva doesn't with that level of medieval cruelty as most other kindred cities, but dismemberment is a common punishment losing a hand, being branded, being beaten. Juniper doesn't rule in that manner. And that's what separates them from the bulk of other kindred leadership.
So I roll my humanity.
Yep, 1/3 your humanity and your unspent willpower.
What's the difficulty, may I ask?
With my hunger or not?
This is a check. It doesn't use hunger. You also can't read. But then again, you have no willpower anyway, so. A third of your humanity is 4?
Well, clear humanity is 3, then plus 1 unspent willpower.
Oh, you have 1 unspent willpower. You have 9 humanity?
Wait, half would be... No, I have 6 humanity, half would be 3, right?
No, it's a
sorry.
third of your humanity.
Sorry, I misheard that.
No, it's fine.
So it would be 2.
3. Wait, yeah, then plus 1 willpower, 3.
Lovely.
God damn it, that's hilarious.
Well,
there's a often touted aphorism when dealing with sports. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. It was beaten into David's head and the head of his teammates, and everyone that he's lost along the way played on the football team, ran track with them, and yeah, you have to try, you have to put forth the effort. And in this moment, looking down into the shipping crate where Dami and Abner had stacked and stored like broken mannequins, the pain that would normally exist in their eyes happened because it was clear that he was gone to the midlands between Dismal and Maddox. For Dami, there is a pain and also a peace. He did his best, he fought his hardest, he pushed everything he had, so there was nothing that he was not in that moment, in that realization that these two men who come from disparate starts and live very different lives were willing to sacrifice what they had for all that you could be, stays David's hand. It stays that rage that wants to well up and spill over into the world at large. And looking from the contents of the crate to Dia, and then to Roz, who is a new face. You've seen her around Dalton, but only in passing. Roz is not the sort to really party or associate much with the bulk of kindred society just yet. You know that they are usually with Tina Teeny, Laura Blakeney's right-hand mafiosa. Them being here is a strange touch of home and all of this macabre carnage. But yeah, here they are. You've lost effort. And unless, of course, you can figure out a way to get someone visibly older, lost Abner. You know that Dami is still there, but just barely so. And Dia, you know of Roz. You guys don't party in the same circle. But Roz didn't arrive with you and didn't arrive with them. And in the crate are 2 kindred who agreed to sacrifice themselves for you.
Dia straightens their back, nods to Roz, not saying anything. Puts the top on the crate because they said we only had 30 minutes and we are burning moonlight. I'm not going to assume that we should press our luck or press their kindness any further because obviously they mean what they say. So I will do my best to get the crate to the van and get it loaded and point ours in a direction out of town. It's kind of hard because I don't know whether we should continue with the original plan of going to Indianapolis. It seems kind of like a lost cause at this moment due to the fact that half the team is cut up in pieces. And to put them back together, we would need help. So,
3/4 of the team are likely cut in pieces if you count Everett.
Yeah, I guess that as well. So,
I mean, just count them, just, you know.
David will help pick up the crate and declare to the Anubai.
So yeah, I guess we'll get headed towards what would be the closest city that would be somewhat friendly that I would know of. Or would it just be best to head back to Dalton?
That is a good question indeed. If you return to Dalton, you know you're returning in failure. If you hide out in Chicago, you know there's a chance for discovery, though not much of you, depending on where you choose to lay low. If you choose to head north towards Green Bay, well, that's a completely different city, completely away from where you're heading, away from home. So the choices are there. The easiest, of course, would be to sneak into Chicago, like find a place to lay low long enough to may come up with a plan. But you can always just head home and complete total failure. Or you can head toward Indianapolis and be done. Because after all, the stakes that are at play, Dalton cannot stand independent without assistance. The only way to receive assistance publicly would be to kiss the ring and to bend the knee. You've all voted for the independents to make choose your own path. This alliance is intrinsic to a semblance of peace returning to Dalton.
I'm going to make the, I guess, executive decision to hide out in Chicago because I feel like at least that way, the people that sent them on this mission in the first place, I might be able to reach out to and get help from.
Okay. Roz?
Yes.
With this fuck of clusters,
Yeah.
where does that place Roz?
Well, she didn't expect this to end up like it did, and she's considered that, like, even though like most of the coterie she was sent to like help out is mostly okay, the fact that one person didn't make it out okay, in fact, the complete opposite. Yeah, she's considered this entire thing an abject failure.
Welcome to the coterie!
Yeah, pretty much.
Having not failed before, there's quite a lot to deal with. Having been gifted the opportunity for success to compile and compound itself, that is a very much unshakable feeling in the moment. But you are with Dean, and you have the crate of the other two associates, potentially soon to be coterie members, in the back of the van as you all head south into Chicago. And with that hovering over everyone, with the realizations of there is something amongst these, the most violent and less than cursorily skilled individuals, finding a boarded up property in West Rogers Park isn't that difficult. The drive from Milwaukee down, quiet as just sullen when the radio is not on, just the sound of tires, just the sound of the engine, occasional braking, and thoughts as you all settle into a dilapidated building in West Rogers Park neighborhood just before the Hasidic community's little conclave off to, and knowing that there are still hours till sunrise, you all find and assure that you have chosen to die for the day. Survive the live comes next. And as you batten down the hatches, settle into seating or laying the muck and mire, we leave our coterie. This is the finale of the season, and back in 2 weeks for the epilogue, and we'll decide our way forward. The Dalton Troupe, and we'll lay ahead for them. I want to thank you all for time with me this evening, and look forward to what salvation and victory the coterie will pull from what comes next.
Good night.
Good morrow. What, we're vampires. We don't say good night, we say good morrow.
I mean, none of us are really that old to say that. Maybe except Dia.
Yes, I am a youngster, yes. Oh, I forgot, I am a very young person, yes. I am supposed to stay lit and whatnot, yes.
Okay. After I went and say like he's like 40 something, right?